How's it going, guys? Cameron here is Canadian Gamer coming at you with a quick little video here. A couple of things to talk about. I was having some issues with my focus on my JVC yesterday. That's just a hack camera that I use to shoot video because it's easy to set up. I busted out my more expensive Sony today, as I'm sure you can probably tell. A very expensive camera that it was, at least back in the day when it came out. And I haven't used it in a while, so this gives me an excuse to check it out with my lighting to see how it looks. I can already tell looking at it right now, it looks really good. So, couple of things to talk about. The first thing, Francis Ford Coppola, yes, that Francis Ford Coppola, is coming out of retirement. He's got a new film coming out next year, so in a couple of days. I don't know when the release date is. And I want to make sure I get the name of the movie right here. So I got it here. Megalopolis. Wow, what a mouthful. So this is a film that Francis Ford Coppola has been thinking about since the early 80s. And I'm trying to pull up more on Wikipedia here. But it's got an ensemble cast. And he's been wanting to make this movie for decades. I can't find it here. You guys can look it up. But I'm telling you, Lawrence Fishburne is in it. I want to say Harvey Keitel. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I've got that wrong. There's some big name actors in it. Adam Driver, although I don't know who he is personally. Apparently he stars in the new Michael Mann film that just came out, Ferrari, based on Enzo Ferrari, which I plan on checking out at the movie theaters as well, hopefully this week or next week. But I really wanted to talk about this movie that's coming out from Francis Ford Coppola because obviously he needs no introduction. The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and he had a host of other great movies as well. But one of the things that was famous about specifically Apocalypse Now is famously Francis Ford Coppola funded that movie himself with his own money so he could have complete creative control. And there's actually a documentary that was filmed by his wife that covers the whole saga and the making of that film. And it's just wild how that all came to be. That film almost never was. And so here we are with his new film here. I'm not going to try to pronounce it again. Francis Ford Coppola has put up his own money to allow himself to have complete creative control. He put up over $100 million of his own money. I think he sold a portion of his winery estate just so that he could fund this film. Now, the guy's 82 years old, right? And a couple of months ago, there was reports that some of the staff walked out during the making of the film due to frustration. Because obviously, he's notoriously, I believe, a perfectionist and maybe a difficult person to work for, right? Let's be honest here. That being said, the movie has finished production. It is wrapped up. So it looks like we're going to actually get this film in 2024. So the reason why I bring that up is because, again, this guy put up his own money just so that he could have complete creative control over the making of this film. Who else in the film industry can lay claim to that, okay? Not too many people can lay claim to that. Not too many people have $100 million of their own money lying around. And somebody had interviewed Francis regarding, concerns of not having enough budget to finish the film, and Francis basically laughed it off. He's like, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go broke, or I'm gonna die. He's like, I'm not gonna die broke. Because he's basically almost, unfortunately, I hate to sound morbid, but he doesn't have that many years left, let's be honest. So he doesn't even care if he blows all his personal money and dies broke. He wants to finish this passion project. But so the reason why I bring this up is because I'm a huge fan of Francis Ford Coppola's body of work. And this is just something that's like you just do not see anymore in the modern age of film. You've got a guy who is not using, as far as I'm aware, any CGI, any special effects, anything of that nature. He didn't even want to use green screen, but he had to because of budget constraints. If you can wrap your head around that. The guy had $100 million at his disposal, $120 million, and there's budget constraints. So at the end of the day, he had to utilize some green screen. But Francis Ford Coppola, he's all about practical effects. It's not like he really uses a lot of special effects in his films, but he's all about, kind of like Stanley Kubrick, right? He wants to keep things as detailed and original as possible. He doesn't want to have all this crazy shit going on like Michael Bay or the Marvel films. And I can't believe we're talking about Marvel films and Francis Ford Coppola. Oh my god. But this film is going to be a spectacle. It is going to be a spectacle. Look it up, folks. There's an ensemble cast, a budget of $130 million. Okay, it's going to be epic. It's probably going to be 3 hours long. Okay, it's a movie that talks about, I think it's about a woman who is, obviously very close to her father, who is very stuck on his ways, Old Testament, the old ways of the world. And then she's with a guy, a younger guy, who wants to rebuild New York City and make it all futuristic because there's a big, I guess maybe maybe I got this wrong, but it sounds like something has happened with New York City. It's in ruins. There was a massive explosion or a war or something. So there's a scientific element to it. And this guy that she's married to or she's dating wants to recreate and bring back New York City and make it futuristic, right? So Francis Ford Coppola wanted to release this film in the early 2000s, but then obviously there was the September 11th attacks, and obviously based on the subject matter, it wouldn't have been appropriate to try to create this film around that time. So here we are all those years later, and finally he's going back and he's doing it. This is going to be his swan song. I'm telling you folks, this is going to be the biggest film of the year. Recently Spike Lee flew out to Francis Ford Coppola's house, spent the day with him, I don't know why, and Francis allowed him to screen. He was able to watch 30 minutes of the film, and although Spike Lee wasn't able to specify what he had seen in the movie, he basically said he was absolutely blown away by it. So are we going to get something that's on the grandest of scales, like Apocalypse Now or The Godfather? I don't know. We'll have to see. Or are we going to get something that's more close to The Godfather Part 3? Wait, does that movie need a reappraisal? So, yeah, all that being said, again, the new Francis Ford Coppola film that's coming out, it is going to be fucking epic. The way the guy shoots his scenes, everything about his films, I can't believe we're getting a new movie from Francis Ford Coppola in 2023. So this is something, I don't get excited for new movies very often, but I am extremely excited for this. So I'm going to leave it at that. There's no trailer out yet. There's not much known. There's a bit of mystery surrounding the film, but I am very interested in the production values of this movie. I can't wait to see this. This is going to be awesome. So hopefully be on the lookout for a release date for that. Already at the 11-minute mark. So the last thing I want to talk about is collecting PS3 and Xbox 360 in the year 2024. So we've talked about this on the channel before, but again, now's as good as time as ever. Now is as good as time as ever. Is that how you say it? To collect for the 360 and the PS3. It really is. It really is, folks. I was watching a rash of videos last night on YouTube. Various content creators talking about best of lists for each console. And, to a lesser extent, I mean, you could throw the Wii U in there as well because it's similar in architecture. It's almost like a stronger version of the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I was watching a video that was showcasing Need for Speed Most Wanted. You remember that game that came out in 2012 by Criterion? And I used to have that for the 360. But anyways, you could get a Wii U version of it. And the Wii U version looks much better than the version that was on the PS3 and the 360. So really interesting stuff, getting way off topic. But yeah, I've been playing my 360 a lot lately. Honestly, I have. And, when you hook up a 360 to a modern TV, I kind of have to correct myself a little bit. Maybe correct John Linneman if I can. So when you play a PS3 or 360 on a modern TV, it actually looks fine. It does. It looks fine. What doesn't look fine is anytime you see text on the TV, it's really blurry and it looks out of place. So it's mostly, as far as I'm concerned, from what I can tell, it's the text that doesn't really look that good on a modern TV for whatever reason. Now, apparently, if you buy a Retro Tink 4K or even the lesser versions of the Retro Tink, and you run your Xbox 360 or your PS3 through the Retro Tink onto a modern display, it will fix that issue with regards to the picture quality of these older consoles on a modern TV. The question is whether or not you want to pay hundreds of dollars for a Retro Tink just to be able to fix that sort of an issue on the older consoles, right? It's up for debate. But all that being said, it has to be said, back during the PS3 and especially the Xbox 360 era, back then the companies weren't afraid to take risks, okay? And that is the problem with the modern age. There's a lot of companies out there that are just afraid to take risks. Now, there was a game that came out last year, or maybe it was this year, by Wild Hog Entertainment. And it was kind of like a Wild West. Can't remember the name of it. It's off. Can't think. It's off. Wow, I can't talk today. It's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, it's a Western game. I'll throw up an image in post-processing. And it didn't get very good reviews. And a lot of the reviewers, referred to the game as kind of like a Gears of War clone. The gameplay was too much like a PS3 or an Xbox 360 game. Evil West, that's it. And I hear that, and that actually piques my interest. Now I want to go seek out a copy of Evil West because it didn't really sell that well, right? And there was another game that came out on the modern consoles, Vampire. Same thing. It has like sort of like an Xbox 360 look to it. Anyways, getting off topic again. Well, that being said, like I said, I really enjoy that era, the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I really do. The more I think about it, the more I think that might be my favorite era, right up there with the 6th generation. I certainly think the Xbox 360 and the PS3 consoles are better than the PS4 and the Xbox One, and even better than the Series X and the PS5. Okay? The PS1, the PS2, and the PS3, those are all bangers. Okay? The PS4, and the PS5 is focusing on big blockbuster experiences like Spider-Man and God of War. Hey, things come full circle though. There's a rumor now that Santa Monica Studios is releasing an HD collection of the first 3 God of War games. Oh, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Because that's played the new God of War games they're finally coming to the realization that the older God of War games were way more bloodier and gorier, more violent, more visceral, more badass, okay? None of this PG-13 bullshit. So yeah, apparently we might be getting an HD remaster of those 3 games in like a combo pack. It'll probably all be on one disc. But man, I love the 360. And like I said, 2024, it's a great time to be collecting for the Xbox 360 and the PS3. And when I started collecting for the 360, I've talked about this before on the channel, But like when I originally got back into collecting video games, I entertained the idea of, oh, should I start collecting for the Super Nintendo again and the NES? And then I started looking at it. I'm like, those games are kind of creeping up in price. And at the same time, I got a 360, and I realized I'm sorry if any of you guys take offense to this, but the experiences that you get from some of these games on the 360 and the PS3, you don't get these types of experiences on the older consoles. You don't. It's different. It's a different type of experience. It's bite-sized, right? On the Genesis and the Super NES. Well, it wasn't until we got into the PS3 and the 360 era that we started getting these 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 hour gameplay experiences. It's true. It's true. And the PS3 and the 360, well, this was sort of the era that kicked off downloadable content. There are still quite a few games you can get for these consoles that are complete, all on a disc, no extras that you have to purchase. And a lot of times when you pop in, if not all the time, when you pop in a 360 game that requires an update, the update's usually only a couple of megabytes, right? But a lot of these games hold up. Like I said, I'm playing my way through Singularity right now. And then after I get through Singularity, I'm probably going to go to the Saboteur. And I've got a bunch of other games I want to play on the 360 and the PS3 as well. So, yeah. No, they're really good consoles. And like I said, it's a real good time to collect. Because they're considered retro right now. Those consoles are almost 20 years old, if you can believe it. But, yeah, I'm happy I jumped on the 360 and the PS3 bandwagon when I did. Because even some of those games unfortunately, are starting to creep up in price. But as far as collecting goals are concerned, I always say that I've wrapped up my 360 collection, but then I find other games out there that I didn't know about. And that's happened over the past 12 months, and it will probably continue to happen as well going into 2024. And I was looking at PS3 games this week. There are a couple of exclusives that were on the PS3 that we did not get on the 360. So now I've got my eyes out for those exclusives as well. I think the one I was looking at was Dead Space, the on-rail shooter Extraction. Was it Extraction? You could get it for the Wii, or was it the Wii U? I think it was the Wii, but you could also get it for the PS3 as well. So I may get that for the PS3. We'll see, or maybe I'll get it for the Wii. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to shut it off there right at the 20-minute mark. 2024 is a great time to collect for the 360 and the PS3. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Are you guys looking forward to collecting for the PS3 and the 360 this upcoming year? What are your collecting goals, What titles for those two consoles are you currently on the hunt for? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you played Evil West. Okay? Let me know if you think I should get rid of my Wii U. Okay? And maybe I should focus on building my Wii collection, because I obviously like the Wii more than the Wii U. Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys being patient with me with my focusing issues with my camera. And that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.